Dragons, I'm back to do another reading vlog for you all. So it is week 2 of Booktuber battle, and this project has been so fun. But this week we are getting into fantasy. So I am reading Booktuber B's recommendations for me, and I don't know who that person is. Hopefully by the end I'll be able to guess. But yeah, so they have given me 2 fantasy books. So the first book I'm reading on my Kindle is Sword Heart by oh my god, I keep on getting this author's name mixed up. I keep on wanting to call her something else. Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher, and I'll attach a photo over here. And I'm about, right now when I'm filming this clip, I'm like 24 pages in, so I don't want to talk too much about it until I'm a little bit farther, but this is the one book I'll be reading for this vlog. And then the other book I'll be reading for this vlog is Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall. And again, these are both fantastical stories, and I'm really excited. I will be honest, at some point, I do not know when, it was probably for a readathon, I decided to pick up Sword Heart and then I put it down. I read about 70 pages. So my goal is to read 100 pages of this and then give you guys an update. And then at the end, I'll give you guys my rating and I'll tell you guys who I think recommended these books to me. But yeah, so that is the plan. My plan is to go read this and just have a good time. But my goal for this week is to read a lot because it's a week that I have a lot of time off and I just want to soak that in. So once I get to page 100 in this book, I will give you guys an update. Bye. Hey friends, I'm back. It is the 22nd of July and I did wind up reading about 100 pages of Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. I will be honest, I did read about 70 pages of this previously, so I was just really reminding myself of where I'm at. And I'm having like a fun time with the story. If I'm writing it on characters and banter, this is going to be like a 4 and 5 star read because I'm really liking the characters. Basically, you follow this main character who is kind of a ward of her uncle, and I think his or an uncle that she had. The uncle was her husband's uncle, and he really liked her, but after the husband died, the relatives were like less than fond of her, but she was like kind of staying with them. And then the uncle died and he left everything to her, and she was like, okay, this is fine. But the family was really angry, so they basically decided to kind of marry her off to someone in their family so that they could get the money, and she was not pleased with that arrangement. She was like, no, this is not happening. So she kind of gets locked in her bedroom. This is all in the first chapter, so I'm really not spoiling anything. And she sees a very, very decorative sword on the wall, and she decides, oh, I'll kill myself. Like, I'll pull the sword through me and I'll die, and then I won't have to deal with that. Literally, that's what happens in the first chapter. Little does she know, the sword is like a person. So like when she unsheaths the sword, a person, like a male, comes out of the sword. And their banter is just so funny. So like, he's like, I'm not going to kill you. And then they kind of run away and they're kind of going on this adventure. But the problem with that I have is, like, I say this a lot about cozy fantasies. My cozy fantasy, which definitely this is feels to me as if it's a cozy fantasy, I'm not feeling the plot push. So like for me, the characters are great. I love the characters. It reminds me of kind of reading the Lachlan series by Robert Jackson Bennett. I don't remember the name of it. Boundary Side. That one had a talking sword, and also the Rick Riordan series, his Thor one, Shadow of Summer, Sword of Summer. They have talking swords, and I like that trope, but it's just like they're running and I don't feel like there's any like tension pushing them. But I've read 100 pages. I'm intrigued. I'm gonna keep reading. I'll come back when I've read another 100 pages. But I love the characters. I just need there to be something that's like plot focused throughout this story other than it just being a romance. If it's just being a romance, I think I'm gonna struggle a little bit, and if that is the case, I may pick up the audiobook. 9 times out of 10 when I read a romance heavy story, I do listen to it just because I can get to it a bit quicker, but I am listening to a pretty long audiobook right now for another project. So, but yeah, I'm having a fun time with it. It's definitely romance heavy, or the vibes are there. I think this is definitely going to be friends to more, which is one of my favorite tropes, or strangers to friends to more. So yeah, that is where we are. We're reading that. I'm also watching Season 2 of The Boys. I'm also trying to catch up on my YouTube queue because I know that once the Olympics hits next week, my TV watching is going to go drastically down because that's all I watch is the Olympics. So, but I want to, actually technically the Olympics starts Friday night, so I have a little bit of time. I don't have any doctor's appointments today, which is good. But yeah, so I'm gonna go get some reading done. The puppy is very upset because people are going to come into our house and she's not going to like that. So I'll try to film when she's not barking. But if you do hear a very, very sassy German Shepherd in the back, that is why. So I'm going to go read another 100 pages and then I'll give you guys an update. Bye. Hey friends, I did end up getting up to 300 pages into Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. I will attach a photo at some point. Oh, I'm sorry, Booktuber B. I'm sorry. This book is just not connecting with me, and I don't know if it's because it really is a romance. There is some like fantasy elements to the story, and there is like a ragtag group of people, but it's just a long book. I don't feel super connected to the characters, and I just think the plot is like really, really weak. There is a lot of disconnected elements that in theory could be like a quest, but they're not consistent enough for me to like care. I would say the first 100 pages with the banter and the dynamics between the characters, I would say it was probably like a 4-star. Since then it probably went down to like a 3-star, and I'm just really like struggling to connect. So I have to start a new diamond art. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stick in the audiobook for the last 100 pages, which is good because if I listen to the audiobook, I could counter for another prompt that I'm doing for another read-a-thon, but I'm just struggling a little bit and I'm not feeling that connected to the characters, which normally happens. So I'm going to see if the audiobook is any better while I'm setting up my diamond painting. And I'm going to go finish like 100 pages of that and see how long it takes me, because right now it's like 5:30 and I don't feel that connected, and I want to see if the audiobook helps me at all. Sometimes when I'm reading romances and I'm not listening to them, I struggle, but sometimes I can't listen to audiobooks on fantasy, so it may just be like the chosen time that I tried to read it, and it also is super long. And for a romance book, like a romantasy that's like not very, very plot focused, I think it's a little bit too long. I also will say that I haven't read any of the other books in this world. So maybe if I would have read the other books in this series, like the Clockwork series, maybe I would have felt more connected to the world. But the world feels very, very flat to me. So I'm going to go set up my diamond painting, listen to a little bit more, and maybe I'll come back in like when I have an hour left and give you guys my thoughts. But up until then, you guys will see me next when I'm done. And hopefully I have better results. But right now, it's not really working for me. So, I'm sorry, Booktuber B. Friends, I'm back. I did want to say that last night, I did wind up finishing Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. I'm going to give this book 4 stars. I think that if I would have read it as an audiobook from the start, I think I would have liked this book so much more. But I physically read a lot of it, and I think that because I physically read it, it really read to me more like a historical romance or historical fiction with some light fantastical elements. I also really do want to read the other books in this series. I thought the romance was fun. I thought it was quick-witted. I thought it was paced. I still think for a 400-page book, the plot didn't really exist. The plot was very, very subtle, which isn't bad, but for me, I just really read for plot when I'm physically reading a book. So I'm only going to give this book like 4 stars. I really did like when I was listening to it, so that's why I'm going to up it. Honestly, if I had finished reading it physically, I probably would have just given it 3 stars because my enjoyment and my engagement. Audiobook, I definitely liked it more when I was listening to it. So that is what I rated that book. I still don't really know who recommended these books to me. I'm going to have to look at the end, like who the people actually recommended the book and look at their bios a little bit. But I am going to pick up Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall. This is a noble woman must pair up with an alleged witch to ward off a curse in this irresistible sapphic romance. So I have read Alexis Hall before. I read his Sherlock Holmes retelling, and I really did like that. I read, I don't even know what it says, but I read another book by him that I really did like, or by them that I really did like. So I'm going to read the first 100 pages of this and hope I have a better time. And yeah. So, yeah, we have an author's note that I'm going to start with. So, yeah, all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to start this. I've heard very, very good things, and it sounds like right up my alley. So, yeah, I'm going to give this book a shot. I'll go read about 100 pages, and then I'll give you guys an update. Today, I do have to go to the dentist, which I'm not as thrilled about. And I do have to do a couple of little errandy things. But, yeah, dentist will be a big priority, so. But yeah, I'm going to read this when I'm on my way there. I'm going to read 100 pages and I'll give you guys an update. I'm also still watching The Boys. I also want to make some headway on my YouTube queue, which is always a goal. But my goal is to maybe make some more progress on The Boys today. So I will talk to you guys when I have read a bit more of The Mortal Follies. Bye. Dragons, I'm back. I didn't really read a lot yesterday, but I did wind up between today and yesterday get to about 100 pages into Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall. So this is Booktuber B's recommendation, and I have read another book by Alexis Hall. It was The Mysterious Letter, I think. It was like a Sherlock Holmes retelling. I got that rec from Leandra, and I remember reading the whole thing, and I was listening to the audiobook, and I remember thinking, this has a ton of world building. I should read it physically. So when I got this recommendation and I looked at the back, I was like, oh, it's a romance. But knowing that he has a very intense world building normally when he does fantasy stuff, I decided to physically read it. I also got this copy from Pingo. I'm having a really, really fun time. I don't know if it's because I'm in my Bridgerton era, but basically you follow this main character who he's basically connected to Oberon. He's like Oberon's jester, and he's kind of telling you this story, which is just funny. He's like a very, very funny narrator. We also had a very, very funny narrator when we did The Mysterious Letter, so I'm just liking that narrative style, and it's like an outside source is sort of telling you the story because he can kind of fade and become things. He's like the little bird in the book, I think. He's like that's something he could fade into. But you follow this character named Miss Maelise Mitchell-Moore, and she has a curse on her. She's getting cursed, and she does not understand what is going on. So she's kind of forced to kind of figure out why is she being cursed, and she's kind of courting, and she's trying to figure all this stuff out, but things are going horribly awry. And she has a friend who's a witch named Lady Georgina Landrake, which is a young woman named the Duke of Andel, who is basically accused of murdering her whole family, but she thinks she knows what's happening to Maelise Mitchell-Moore, and it's just a funny dynamic. I'm really having a fun time with it. I need a little bit more time to sit down and read, so I'm gonna go read another 100 pages, but this has the potential to be a 5-star read. I'm just gonna say it. I really am having a fun time with it. It has enough world building, it has enough plot. It gives me Half a Soul vibe, but with Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, I didn't feel that connected to the characters, but I like all the characters in here. They're very, very fun. The dynamics and banter is super fun. So yeah, I'm having a really, really fun time. I'm also gonna go watch the Olympics podium training for men. This is the start of my Olympic week where I'm gonna be watching a bunch of Olympic content. Just because it's on and I hate being spoiled. So my schedule's going to be a bit off until the Olympics, at least the gymnastics stuff is over, just because I like to watch that stuff live. But yeah, I am going to go read about another 100 pages of this, try to catch up on Booktube. I'm on the spooky reveal. I will say, Team Fantasy did not do as well as all these other teams at getting all these bonuses. I'm very, very jealous. We're going to have to kick it into gear next year, Amazing Race, because they got some really, really cool bonuses that now I really, really want. So just me watching, be like, oh, they got that bonus. So yes, alas, that is me. Very, very, very good game as always. But yeah, enough about the Amazing Readathon. But I'm having a really fun time with this, and I'm gonna go read another 100 more pages, and then I'll give you guys an update. Bye. Book check-ins, I'm back. It's almost 7 o'clock, but I did wind up getting a lot more reading done. I also did wind up watching my men's gymnastics podium training. It's not the competition yet, but I have never get to see that, so I was happy that Peacock put it on. I literally just have Peacock for gymnastics, and sometimes it's not always worth it, but during the Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics, it definitely is. So I did wind up getting up to page 200 in Mortal Follies. I'm having a fun time. I'm having a great time. I love books with an interesting narrative style. So you're getting told this story through this little fairy's point of view, and he is kind of he's kind of the person telling you the story, so you kind of get the whole story from his point of view, but it's just a fun story. It definitely has Regency vibes, which I am really liking. I am in my Bridgerton era. If you have not seen my Bridgerton content, please go check it out. We also did get confirmation who the lead for season 4 is going to be, which has nothing to do with this vlog, but I will tell you my prediction was 100% accurate. So but I'm just loving these characters. That's what I feel the balance of the characters, when I was reading Half a Soul, I didn't feel that connected to the characters. I really do love these characters, and I'm having a really fun time with the story. I think all the side characters are really, really fun. They're all really, really fleshed out. I think the world is pretty easy to follow. I think it's something that I'm digesting, and I just love the funniness and humor in this story as well. I'm just having a great time. Like, I really am liking it. I definitely think this could be a 5-star read for me because I'm just having so much fun. And it's kind of mixing my two favorite things right now. I love a fantastical, like, cozier story. I mean, it's not as cozy as like my previous ones that I've been reading because there are some higher stakes, especially for our main character who has been cursed. But the romance is very like working for me. It's very like I would say antagonistic to more, or like maybe like strangers to friends to more, and they're kind of forced to work together, and I do like that. But I'm just having a great time. So my goal for today is to read maybe another 100 pages. I have given up on watching TV because I know that once Sunday hits or Saturday morning hits, I'm really not going to be able to watch anything really very much because I'm going to be watching the Olympics all day. So, and then once my part of the Olympics is over, but my gymnastics part, I'll go back to watching TV shows. But so yeah, about this, I'm having a super fun time. I'm really happy that I just got to sit down and read it today, and I just want to keep reading it. So that is my plan. My mom's away tonight. I'm home with Puppy and my dad, so I will probably get a little bit of reading done. I may do some diamond painting later, but honestly, I want to. I'm also starting to feel a little bit of like a stressful itch for this vlog because August is just a lot's going on in August, and I would much rather have no physical books to read for this project. So I'm trying to get a little bit ahead of the game. We will see if that actually happens. But so far, I'm having a really, really fun time with this book. So that's all I have to say. So I'm going to go read a little bit more. I also have to start thinking about who recommended this book to me, and I don't know who did it. So alas, stressful. But I'm having a really, really fun time. I'm watching a pre-order video for Kristen Crave's books in the background that is kind of picking me what I'm going to pre-order for August. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll talk to you guys when I have read another 100 pages. That may be tonight, that may be tomorrow. It just depends on how tired I get. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Hey, Chickens, I'm back. I just want to do a quick update. It is almost 2 o'clock, which means I'm probably going to go grab a mid-afternoon snack. But I watched women's podium training, which I'm very excited about. I was only able to watch the women, but I am very, very excited to see what this Olympic cycle brings. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. This team is definitely one of my favorites. So I'm really having a fun time watching them, which means my reading will definitely go down a little bit in the next week because I think our Olympics it starts on Saturday and it ends next Saturday. So I have like a week of like watching a lot of gymnastics all day. Like it's going to be pretty much an all day event for me because they're going to keep repeating it. And I don't want to be spoiled. But good news for this vlog. I've read 100 more pages of Mortal Follies. And I think this is going to be a solid 4.5-star read. Like, I'll probably round up to 5 on Goodreads. I don't think it's going to be an all-time favorite, but I'm having such a fun time with these characters. I really like the narrator of this story. I think it's interesting that he kind of takes you through the story. It reminds me very much of when I read Lovely War by Julie Berry, because that one was narrated by gods. And I'm just having a really, really fun time. I think that the plot point was revealed pretty early, that I was not really expecting that. So I feel like, again, for like almost a 400 page book, I don't think the plot point, there was a big reveal about basically who was cursing her. And I just wish like there was more to the story. There is still a lot to the story, but I feel like the pacing slowed down once that reveal happened. But I'm having a really, really fun time. I'm going to go read the last 100 pages of this so I can give you guys my thoughts, look to see who I think recommended these books, and then I might diamond paint for a little bit because I have a readathon that's starting this weekend that I want to get done, but I also really need to get done an audiobook. So that is the plan. I took the puppy for a walk and I listened to my audiobook for a little bit. But yeah, my plan is to go read a little bit more of this, try to catch up on my booktube queue because honestly, between the Olympics and that, I think I'm going to fall behind even more so, and I don't really want to. Yeah, so I'm going to go read a bit more of this, read about 100 more pages, and then I'll be done, and I can give you guys my solid thoughts. I can wrap up this vlog, start my next vlog, which is for Bree's Patreon, but that's another vlog I'm going to do. But I'm having a really fun time with this. I love the characters. I really think if you're a Bridgerton fan, but you want a little bit more fantastical stories in your life, I would definitely check this out. It is also a sapphic story. but I feel a lot more connected to the characters than I did when I read Half a Soul. So I feel like the characters are really, really pushing me. I just think the pacing of the story fell down a little bit in the last 100 pages. I will say there is a trigger warning on the front for sexual assault and like talking about that. So just be mindful of that. There is an author note that has a lot of triggers. So be sure you read the triggers before you go into this book. But I'm having a really, really fun time with this book. And also, if you are looking for an author that is a pen name for various readathons that may be coming up, this is a pen name because Alexis Hall is a pen name, which I did not know. So that's good to know because I really want to go and read their backlist because I really like their writing style. So yeah, I'm going to go read another 100 pages of this and then we'll come in, we'll wrap up, we'll see how I rank them and who I think recommended these books for me. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Again, sorry, I'm going to keep this short because my dad has vacuuming in the background, but I want to get this clip filmed so I can start thinking about my next vlog, and I'm going to come back at the very, very end, like in a few days, and do like the wrap-up clip. But I did want to finish Mortal Follies. It just definitely went down a little bit in the second half. Like the first 100 to 150 pages I thought was going to be a 5-star read, but again, sort of with what I said with Sword Heart, like very much a very, very long book with cozy fantasy vibes that I just don't think needed to be that long. But the strengths of this book were the characters. The strengths of this book was the narration. I really thought it was fun, like how the story was told. Very reminiscent of the case of the Mysterious Letter, where Alexis Hall had another like very unique narrator style, and I just really like the characters. I think I'm just in my Bridgerton era, so definitely gave me Bridgerton vibes. But I feel like there was so much, I felt like this book was broken into 3 different parts, and I just felt like it could have been like less parts. So I had a fun time with it. I really did like the characters. Again, I think Alexis Hall, I'm definitely going to try to pick up more books because I did say before, it is a pen name, but they write a lot of different types of books. So yeah, I had a fun time with this. I'm going to kind of reassess, come back when I'm closer to actually posting this vlog and do my wrap up, but solid 4 stars. If I had to like choose between these 2 books and say the book I liked better, I would probably say Mortal Follies, but I did really like my listening experience with Sword Heart once I gave it a second shot. So I will come back when I'm going to wrap up this vlog officially and we will kind of make predictions and see which vlog was better. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon for that. Hi dragons, I'm back. Oh, I have a puppy. Sorry. She wants to go outside, but it's so hot here in New York. I don't think she really wants to go out. So with this. Okay. So I actually am here to wrap up this vlog. Sorry if you see her bite me, but you're just going to see her in the background. She's fine. She's just... you're going to hear her toy. But I didn't want to come up here and wrap up this vlog. I didn't wind up reading Sword Heart and Mortal Follies. I'm going to give Sword Heart 3.75 stars. I'm going to round it up to 4, but it's definitely more of a 3.5 star read for me, honestly. This was more of a 4.25 read for me. Definitely my favorite that I've read overall. I really like this one a lot. I just felt like the second half of this book had a little bit of plotting issues, and I felt like Sword Heart, as much as I loved the characters, it was a bit long. And these are pretty long books. Like, this was almost 400 pages. That book was 400. So the length of a cozy fantasy, if it's not very, very plot focused, tends to be a downfall for me. But I really like this. I have read by Alexis Hall before, and I would read by both these authors before. I just felt like Sword Heart was not really a fantasy story, and I miss the fantasy. This was very, very fantasy heavy, so I had a fun time with both. So who do I think recommended these books? I was looking at competitor bios. I think Witchy Reads recommended these books to me. That's what I think. And I'm gonna say because she really likes contemporary and cozy fantasy and like comedy, and I feel like these books scream comedy to me. So I don't have bios. Like, I think that she recommended these books for me, and I had a really, really fun time with this project. So I think Witchy Reads recommended these to me. I will probably be totally wrong. I never guess anything correctly. But let me know in the comments if you've read these. Who do you think recommended these books to me? I would love to know. And I'll talk to you guys next week for Booktuber C.